Good evening. I'll call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Saratoga Springs. Today is Tuesday, February 17th at 6:01 p.m. We've got entire council present and staff. We will begin, and I did not talk to people, with a moment of reflection. Council Member Taylor, would you mind doing that for us? Okay, and then pledge. Okay, thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful to be here as a city council and residents and staff of this great city. We're thankful for the blessings that thou hast poured out in great abundance upon our area. We're grateful for the work that is being done by the EMS and the staff here. We pray that we might be able to consider the things that are put before this council this evening, that we'll consider them thoughtfully and make decisions that are going to be in the best interest of the residents of this great city. We thank thee for these blessings and pray gratefully. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council, for doing the impromptu assignments. We're going to move to our fourth item here, recognition of our outgoing planning commissioners, Charlie Karn and Jack Mangum. Do we have a presentation from staff on this? Sarah.
We want to say thank you to our outgoing planning commissioners for their service over the past 1 year and 2 years. Your participation has helped guide decisions that will shape our community for years to come. We know this work isn't always easy, and we truly appreciate the thoughtfulness and commitment that you brought to the position. We thank you for your time and your perspective and your willingness to serve and give up your evenings. And we're grateful for all you've done and wish you the very best moving forward. And I want to read what's on your plaques as well. I don't want to... I have to put them behind. Oh, there we go. Okay. It says the same thing on both of them. For your dedicated service on the City of Saratoga Springs Planning Commission, your hard work, honesty, positive attitude, and commitment to making Saratoga Springs a great community is sincerely appreciated by the Mayor and City Council. Thank you for your service. So here you go. Here's your... Okay, I guess you have to take the covers off for the photos though. So it looks nicer.
Can I stand behind him and do bunny ears? Oh.
Thank you.
And then where do we have to hold our hand back here?
Yeah, no. I should have done it for at least one.
You guys have a good evening. Thank you.
You guys do have to stay for the whole meeting. Okay, we'll go to our next item, oath of office for police officers. Chief.
Mayor and council, it's always great to be with you. We have two officers to be sworn in and receive their commissions. I'll ask both Officer Larson and Officer Nicolia to come up and join me for just a minute. I will tell you that Officer Nicolia here is a one-year veteran of law enforcement coming to us from another agency. He speaks Spanish and Tagalog. That's in the Philippines. And so we're excited to have him on board. And Officer Larson is a second-generation police officer. His father, Justin, is a retired police officer who has subsequently become a paramedic in the fire service. We'll just mention that briefly. And so we're excited to have them and some of their other family members here with us. So, Mayor, if you're ready, gentlemen, step into the arena.
right, if you please raise your right arm. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Congratulations.
So at this time, we'll have the ceremonial badge pinning, and Officer Nicolia's spouse, Cheyenne, is going to come forward, and at the same time, Officer Larson's father, Justin. He knows how to do it, and Cheyenne has been rehearsing, so. Yeah, if Justin, if you stab him with that pin, you're going to have to treat him yourself. Yes, sir. Now, in addition to the swearing in, we have a certificate of commission for each of you. Well, now that you're a paramedic, I guess you don't know how to do that. But I've known Justin for many years. He and I served in the Army National Guard together as well. The certificate of commission reads as follows. Saratoga Springs Police Department, Certificate of Commission as a Police Officer. The Chief of Police of the Saratoga Springs Police Department has reposed special trust and confidence in the loyalty, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Colin Larson and Alvaro Nicolia. In view of these abilities, qualities, and their demonstrated potential for this responsibility, they're appointed as police officer effective the date given under our hands the 2nd day of February 2026 in the city of Saratoga Springs, Utah, signed Christopher Karn, Mayor, and Andrew Burton, Chief of Police. And Mayor, if you could just give those two. Maybe just, yeah, there you go.
These are the ones for Melissa, so you're gonna have to let me take some with my phone, so Melissa can Instagram them, and then some for posterity. Yep, that's great, thank you.
And you guys don't have to stay for the whole meeting. Except for Chief, yeah. Okay. All right, we will now move to public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matter not listed as a public hearing on the agenda. Time for public input is limited to no more than 15 minutes total. Please limit individual comments to 3 minutes. Time may not be given to another commenter. Please be respectful in your comments. Please avoid repetitive comments. If you are here for a public hearing, please hold your comments until that item. Is anybody here for public input? Please come out to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Greg Vandergrift. I live with my wife at 64 South Polaris Drive in the Wander Springs Village community, just across the open and undeveloped field from here. After retiring from the city of Los Angeles after working in the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Engineering for 34 years as a licensed civil engineer and supervisor, we moved here in September of 2023. At the time, we were given to understand that soccer fields were to be located next to the development. Having moved from Southern California, where there were several sports complexes for soccer tournaments and National Little League tournaments, we have a simple understanding of the demands on a community that such infrastructure places. A sports complex can provide a varied amount of focused exercises and activities in a young community like Saratoga Springs. Space for young adults and youth is a primary need. The master plan for parks, recreation, trails, and open space shows that at 3.68 acres per person of park space, that a space like Patriot Park, also identified as a regional park, is needed. What disturbs myself and my neighbors is the lack of information regarding the future development of Patriot Park. A concept plan identified as concept number 3 appeared on the Patriot Park site, but provides no details for understanding the context of this plan. Furthermore, this concept is very different from our understanding of the park's development. We have concerns about noise from pickleball courts, heat island effect from the amount of parking, tennis courts, and pickleball courts, runoff from the facilities, especially as it affects the adjacent fish pond, which also feeds to the Jordan River, the specialized focused activities and the space devoted to such, the lack of general use space for other recreational events, pedestrian and vehicular traffic in and out of the park, particularly where the soccer fields may interact with the fields at Inlet Park. We believe that communication is key to developing facilities that will be utilized by the community to the fullest extent possible, and at the same time will not have a detrimental effect on the surrounding residents. We believe that updating the park website with the general project schedule, budget, environmental concerns, and alternatives, as well as the list of conceptual activities that can be met by the park, would help allay concerns and create a better life here than anywhere else in Utah County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will close public comment and we will go to reports. Oh, please come up and state your name and address for the record.
All right, thank you, Mayor. My name's Diane Bradshaw. You need my address?
Just your street,
Abigail Lane in Eagle Mountain.
okay?
Good evening. My name's Diane Bradshaw, and I have the wonderful opportunity of being the ambassador for Saratoga Springs for the Ruth, which is the new Hale Center Theater out in Pleasant Grove. I just wanted to come here tonight, and those of you that are new on the council and new to staff, and let you know about a program we're going to be offering. I think it's awesome that today, I guess, is Random Act of Kindness Day, so I'm giving you a random act of kindness. But we are going to be having a Saratoga Springs Week on May 4th through 9th for the residents of Saratoga Springs. And what this will be is we're going to be having, I'll work with, I assume, Annalise on this, but we're going to be having an opportunity for all residents of Saratoga Springs to get tickets for $5 off during that week. I also have 6 complimentary tickets, 12 total, that you all can use however you would like. I assume I'll give those to Annalise as well. But we're going to be able to offer those tickets, like I say, to anybody in the area. We just want to be able to elevate the arts in Saratoga Springs and give your residents an opportunity to see our wonderful facility. Also during that week, if you all want, we can do a private tour. If you want to go as a council or as with your spouse, we'd be happy to have a private tour for you as well. So I don't know if you have any questions. I do have flyers and things that are made out for Saratoga Springs. Again, I'm assuming it's you. So I can give those, and we can have those open 3 months prior to that week. I think that Wizard of Oz is playing that week, and Once Upon an Island are the shows that will be available to your residents. So didn't know if you have any questions, but it's a wonderful opportunity. Again, I've given out tickets. Last week I went to Vista Heights Middle School and what's the other middle school out here?
Lake Mountain.
Lake Mountain, thank you. And was able to give them over 100 tickets to use for their students. So we really want to be able to show the arts and be able to have students, you know, those that are retired residents in your city be able to use those.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, I'll give this to Annalise and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay. We will try again. Is there anybody else here for public input? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public input. And we will go to reports. Council. Any reports from the council?
Sorry, I feel like it's always me. Sorry, Chris.
You're good.
Sorry, Mayor. I went to the library board meeting and their circulation is still up. I just wanted to bring one point of attention just so the council is aware. there's about 40 to 60 people on the wait list for every program right now. I think this was expected. We have not increased programming in the new space, but as funds became available, I hope we look into that. Personally, I'm not on top of it enough to register 2 weeks before programs, so my kids don't get the programs right now. So I know there's plenty of others in the community who probably feel the same. So just FYI.
Okay. Any other reports from council on council assignments? No? Anything from administration?
Thank you. Lots going on with the legislature. We are about midway through the session. I believe they're just shy of 1,000 bills that have been released so far. That's way over pace for previous years. That's not necessarily a good thing in depending on how you want to look at it, but they are prolific this year in the number of bills that we're seeing. We've been spending a lot of time dealing with the bills that might impact our community adversely. Appreciate Mayor Karn and Emma for their participation. They've been doing a great job communicating with our legislators and watching out for the best interests of our community. So it's going to continue to get crazy, and there's still a lot of legislative session to happen. So
I don't think we've gotten to the crazy part
oh no.
yet. So, thank you, and we have no need for closed session tonight.
That is correct.
So we will move to consent items. Did everyone get a chance to speak with the recorder before the meeting on the slight change to the minutes? Okay. I'll take a motion on consent item.
I move that we approve the minutes from February 3rd, 2026.
Okay, we've got a first from Councilmember Wilson. Second from Barton. Taylor?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Taking a vote
You're
here.
asking for a roll call
Yep.
vote now. Yes.
Thank you. Taylor, Barton.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Wadman.
Yes.
Davenport.
Yes.
That passed unanimously. We'll go to business item 1, amendments to the Saratoga Springs City Code, Title 20. Come on down.
One second, sorry. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Is that working? Is that working? Okay. Today, we're bringing forward some changes to Title 20, which is the Administrative Code Enforcement Code, as well as the Code Enforcement Manual. If you looked at the two, you'd see that the changes were the same. So the Code Manual is just a reflection of Title 20. Sorry, let me get to my notes. Oh, sorry. I'm Rulon Hopkins, Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you.
And I have Brad Davis, the Code Enforcement Supervisor, with me as well for any questions. Some of the big updates that you'll see was we updated the definition of the Ordinance Enforcement Administrator since one had not been designated previously. The new one will allow it to be the City Manager or Assistant City Manager unless designated differently. We've clarified some of the fees, primarily the reinspection fee. It used to be mandatory for all reinspections to be a fee, but we've found that that's not the best way to administer it. The way that code
Hey,
enforcement.
Rulon, sorry, real quick.
Yes,
Are we sharing anything?
No,
that we
there's
should be seeing?
no PowerPoint on this
Okay.
one, sorry.
Thank you. So I want to make sure our screens weren't off.
No. We found that as we have two code enforcement officers now for the north and the south, it's not the same need where it used to be just Brad alone, where if he was on the north, he'd have to drive all the way to the south. Now they're separated, basically the middle of the city, essentially. Manny's got the south, Brad's got the north. So it's not necessary to do that reinspection fee every time because they're typically in the area. But it is still permissive in the case where we have it being done numerous times. So we'll have some instances, 5 or 6? And they just continue to not become into compliance. And that's where we believe that it's still a waste of city resources at that point. There's also the addition of the reduction for fees for vehicles that have proof of registration. Previously, we've just had that for animal licensing, but that's another issue where the code enforcement officers don't have access to the same database to review vehicle registration. So that could be an instance where they have the proof, but they just hadn't put the sticker on. So they can just bring that into Adrian over at the administrative court, and then that can be waived. And then the last big change was it used to be mandatory to record a lien against properties, but we want to change that to permissive as well, just because it's a very big administrative burden on staff, the county, and the residents and homeowners. So those are the primary changes, but both of us are available if you have any questions.
Are there any questions from the council?
No, I just want to,
No?
no questions, but just I think these are really great changes. So I appreciate you guys looking at this and bringing these back. I think it's a conversation we have often with code enforcement. It's a tough one, and so I appreciate these changes. I think they're great. So no questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, I had a couple, and they're not necessarily things that are being changed, but if looking at, on page, on page 4, part B, in other places, it specifies whether it's a calendar day, but at that point, it doesn't specify, it just says days. And I think it might be clearer if we talked about calendar days. If we could add that, let's see.
Part B.
Is that civil penalties under B2?
It is, I think it's on page, let me pull it up. Do you have it? Page 4 at the top.
So,
Is that- Where is that? Oh, sorry.
For calendar day in there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if we're updating the code, can we look at maybe making that a little bit clearer?
that's, that's not on the
Where's that?
agenda to change tonight.
Okay,
You could certainly make that recommendation if you wanted.
okay. And my other,
Insert calendar days.
Okay?
okay.
Can I just, let me address that really quick. I think the intent of the code is calendar days because it uses that term later on, and it does say calendar days.
Later.
And it's consistent with using 10 days. So I think that is just a non-substantive change that staff can make. But we can look at that and bring it back if it's needed for an update of that.
Okay. And then my other question was at the very end of the manual, it's the very last page, well, second to last page, it's item D.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, keep scrolling. I just had a question about, so in item 2, it says the previous property owner is responsible for the payment of all fines accrued and correcting all property violations before the change in ownership. It is likely that they will be noticed and a lien on the property that would require the RP to correct the validation and pay before the property can transfer over ownership. And then number 3, after 6 months from the date of closing, the new property owner will be responsible for the previous non-compliance of the property owner and can be cited accordingly. And this does not apply to violations. So my question was, in part 2, where it says if there is, that, how will the property owner know in addition? Or how will the property owner know that there is a lien on that property?
The current or the new homeowner?
The new one.
If it was recorded, then it would show up on a title report.
Where the part where it is likely that there will be a notice was my question. So if there are other instances or other places where it would be noticed, that was my question. If it is not noticed in that, then it was the likely was my question about that.
Let me address that
Would
too,
you?
because that's kind of a remnant from the way things used to be done.
Mhm.
There used to be always a notice of compliance recorded on, or notice of non-compliance recorded on the property. I don't think we do that sometimes we do, but
Occasionally,
it's
yeah.
very rare to do that anymore. But we can look at that and update that as well as needed. But it's very unlikely that will come up because of the fact that we just don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So if I may, Kevin, these aren't technically red line changes to the code that we've been noticed for tonight. Are those changes that we can recommend and they can come back?
Yeah, so for the calendar one, we'll look at the code
Okay.
and make sure we understand what the legislative intent was. If we can make an interpretation that's clearly the legislative intent, we'll just go ahead and make that change.
Okay.
I think it is because several times it says calendar days. There are some times where it doesn't say calendar, but if we can make that, we'll just update that to the code. We don't ever take the risk, like if we're reading in between the lines, we're making an interpretation that's not consistent with the legislative intent. We never do that.
Okay.
But as far as the manual is concerned, we can also look at that and see if we need to update that, because it's kind of an outdated process in the administrative
Yeah,
code
and
enforcement manual.
And I apologize for not bringing up the red line items, but it just, as we're looking at this particular update, I just wanted to add a little bit of clarification and request that perhaps in the future.
And one thing you could do as well, if you don't want to act on this motion or on this tonight, you could also direct it to come back to staff to bring it back with those changes if you want to see more changes. But we have to have the ordinance, the law says the ordinance has to be drafted in advance. Now, it doesn't require very much notice because this is Title 20, it's not a land use ordinance. It just requires 24 hours notice, so it's very easy to bring it back again. So that's up to you. You can either adopt the changes we have, or you could table it and direct staff to make those changes, or you could adopt them and then direct staff to bring back more changes.
Okay. Are there any more?
Oh,
Any other
we're good.
questions
Yeah,
from the council?
I do. Under section 20.3.08, paragraph 3, non-payment of citations, 3B, interest may be assessed on all outstanding amounts of rate up to 20% per annum. After that, it comes up, what's being added is after judgment, interest rate shall be charged at the post-judgment interest rate established by Utah Code 1514. My question is to the staff, and I'd like to see it come back, is we've got this outstanding amount of 20% per annum, but we also have this post-judgment of what the state judgment rate is. My question is why aren't we just, if we're going to add that, why not have the state established rate for all outstanding amounts? And we have it up to 20. What is the rate that's being charged now, if any?
I don't believe interest is currently being charged right now.
Okay. Well, Mayor, my recommendation is on this Title 20 is that I'm good with it as it is, but directing staff to take a look at those things that have been mentioned and bring it back to another city council meeting in the near future, next council meeting, hopefully.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing this to us. Thank you for the changes. They look really good. I did have a thought, and this is not on the changes, so I'm sorry if this has to be done separately. I noticed that the fees for general city code violations, this is in section 2308, section 2A, well, the administrative citations. The first offense is $100 versus a parking violation below is like a $25 offense. Some of those citations, and Brad, you would probably know much better, are big things, and some of them are little things. I had a neighbor who had a sign for her business in the roundabout. She never received any notice, and she was then given a $100 citation. I felt like that was a little bit hefty. I don't know if there's a way to write our code so that code enforcement can use discretion to say if this is a big offense or small offense. I don't know if that's possible in practice, but I do think that would be helpful for like a lemonade stand who puts a sign in the middle of a roundabout and then gets $100. That just seems, there may be some reasons we want to do that.
Yeah, it's a possibility that we could do that, but we would have to do it with specificity within the code.
Yes.
It couldn't just be up to a code enforcement officer's interpretation of this
Okay.
is a 50, that's a 75, because then we'd get into a potential selective enforcement argument.
Yes. Is that something other council members would be interested in looking into?
So I'm seeing some nods, so that would be an amendment to the fee schedule. Bring that back when we bring back the administrative code.
Yeah.
Taking a look at specificity, but make it so that the fees are a little bit more balanced between civil versus criminal.
More aligned to the offense, yeah, with the
And
civil.
that
And
may-
Brad probably has the best examples there, but again, especially things in neighborhoods that are kind of, I don't know, maybe we do a citation before we do the fine, or we do, something like that.
That could take a little more time than some of these other changes we talked about, so maybe we want to do it in two different groups.
I think that the fee schedule should be There's some other things that Councilman Barton has been discussing with, and I'm in agreement that maybe we should take a look at those fees.
Just the fee schedule in general.
In March, probably the second meeting in March if there's time on the agenda.
Mayor and council, if I may just interject just real briefly. My one concern, and I'm happy to look at that with legal and see what we can do there. My one concern with changing that would be if we go to a minor and then a severe kind of enforcement as far as administrative citation goes. I almost would be cautious because it almost takes all the discretion out of it at all. So it doesn't matter if it's, you know, your person that puts a sign in a roundabout, they automatically get a fine. Right now, the officer that writes the citation does have limited discretion on whether or not it's an actual offense or if we issue a warning citation. And so if we move to, this is a minor infraction, you automatically get a ticket, there's no discretion at all. So that would be my one comment, is right now we do have some, I'd just be afraid to take that away.
Yeah, I would love to make sure that you still do. So however we can work with you to make sure you know this best. But yeah, I'm thinking of my own neighborhood. Harvest Hills has signs all the time. A lot of them are missionaries coming home.
And
Yeah.
honestly, that was probably me that wrote that citation to your friend. And, you know, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm sorry, I misspoke there. The code was recently changed 2 years ago, I think it was, to allow a lot more signage with HOA permission. So a lot of those, you know, that was already mostly addressed, so.
Yeah,
We'll
and I think-
definitely we'll bring that back. If that's the direction from the council, you want a $50 fine, and it's just those small.
Or
we
even
won't call them
25.
political signs, but just those,
Snipe signs.
you know, we'll call them snipe signs.
Garage
And
sale.
if they're small enough in size, then I think that's something that's doable. There was House Bill 33 that was passed today by the Senate that, as you know, limits our ability to prohibit some of those signs regardless. And so I think that will solve much of the problem, but that's definitely doable.
Has that gone through both chambers?
It did. It passed the Senate today.
Okay.
Thanks for following that, Kevin.
Mayor, I'd still like to see the fee schedule looked at as a whole in the near future.
Okay. Any other comments from the council? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve business item number 1 is listed on the agenda, dated as today, 2/17/26. Oh, with all the findings, conditions, and the staff report. Sorry.
And
And what? Oh, the changes?
the guidance to bring back those things.
Oh, do we have to, I mean, does that have to be part of the approval?
Is that
Bring
part of the
back that
motion or
stuff?
just guidance?
Ask that question again.
Do I
Does she need to make the request for changes for, she's making a motion to approve
Oh, no,
one.
we got notes. We'll
You're good,
So I just
okay.
have to approve
All
it,
right.
sounds good.
So we have a first from Councilmember Barton
Second.
and a second from Councilmember Wadman. We'll take a vote. Wadman?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Davenport?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
That passes unanimously. Business item 2, award of contract for construction management services for the Saratoga Springs, Saratoga Road, and Pony Express Parkway widening project. Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor. And just a quick explanation of what construction management is. So we have a design firm that we hired about a year or so ago. They're responsible for the design up into bidding the project and getting us a contractor. At that point, we transition to a different firm. Well, depending on who the best proposal is from. Sometimes it is the same firm, and that is called construction management services. And there's a brief period where those overlap. So frequently, we like to bring on the construction management firm to do a quick quality control review of the plans before we put them out to bid, and then they'll kind of help transition us into the construction phases. They'll do daily constructions, review submittals, make sure the project's getting built properly. If there's technical issues that are brought up, they'll help resolve those. So what we're awarding today is the firm that's going to help take this to bid, do our quality control, and make sure that we are not missing anything, and then take us through the life of the construction project. Right now, we're anticipating this project, this Pony Express widening and Saratoga Road widening, going out to bid here in the near future. This is one of those steps with construction completed prior to August of 27, before school starts in 27. So a 2-season project. So a lot of these pricings are not to exceed, right? They're estimations, but they'll bill us only on actual time spent. So the numbers you saw in the proposal was about $385,000, assuming that's the time frame of construction, right? 18-month construction time frame, based on estimated hours on the ground, daily inspections, weekly meetings, all that stuff. So they're only going to bill us hourly. If it ends up being less, because that's less hours are spent, they'll bill us only for the actual time spent. So happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Jeremy, this is the construction management to take Pony Express and Old Saratoga Road both to a 5-lane cross-section and install the light at that intersection, correct?
Correct, yeah. As we discussed previously, we were successful in securing the additional $4 or $5 million so that we could make this a 5-lane project. We are looking currently at the signal warrants actually with 1100 West. So we're coordinating with Lehigh. So that may, depending on final discussions, get added to the project as an adult. So we'll get a price.
Okay.
If we can afford it, we may move forward. If not, we could discuss with Lehigh. But Lehigh was very concerned about that. This is like the eastern end of the project, right where Dry Creek Elementary is. The warrants aren't quite met, but they'll be met in 2 years.
Okay.
So we'll get a price for that, and then depending on, if the bids come in and it's all covered by the MPO funding, great. If they don't, then we can sit down with Lehigh and discuss if that's something we want to figure out or not do. So could potentially have 2 signals, but we'll definitely have the signal at Pony Express and Saratoga Road.
But just for clarity, for those watching from home, this is the project that takes Saratoga Road and 1900, whatever,
Pony Express.
Pony Express to 5-lane cross-section from that intersection to the Lehigh border and up to Pioneer Crossing.
That is correct. I want to just make sure, again, transparency, pending, the only last bottleneck, the state lands property, pending final negotiation with them. We have not yet figured that out.
Yep.
We feel like we will get that figured out in time, but I want to put out there that there are some unknowns. But yes, the funding is there, the intent is there, and assuming that all comes together, yes.
So that is forest fire state land. They are a willing seller to us. They are trying to figure out how to do it.
Yes, they're having some internal bureaucratic discussions with the AG's office on that process. They very rarely divest land or
Thank
sell
you.
land, so they're going to have to invent the wheel here as far as process goes.
Okay. Any other questions from the council?
If there's no snow, does that project get done quicker, Jeremy?
You just called for more snow. So you called a no-hitter, sorry.
I mean, it's win either way, right? Either gets done
Just
quicker.
All contract terms are subject to unforeseeable delays, whether that's a weather delay, whether that's a supply chain delay. Those things can extend the contract duration date. So, obviously there's a lot of unknowns as far as you get into a project and, sometimes until you're excavating or digging it or whether, there's a lot of things. So, but there is a buffer built into that, right? So we typically account for that and give ourselves a buffer so that when there are unknowns, we really want to get this done and not go into this, the 2027 school year that fall.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number R 2610 as of 2/17/26, where the city will authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Methods Consulting, Inc. for the construction, management, inspection, and materials testing services related to Saratoga Road and Pony Express widening project.
Do we need to name the winning bidder?
You did.
Okay, okay, great. Sorry, I missed it. That's the first from Councilman Taylor.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Davenport. I'll take a vote. Wilson?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Davenport?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Wadman?
Yes.
That passes unanimously. Our last business item is business item 3, discussion on Trails Master Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be presenting this memo on behalf of Joel Temple, who could not be here today. Joel has been spearheading the update of our Trails Master Plan. This is just the Trails chapter within the Parks, Recreation, Trails, and Open Space Master Plan. It was last approved in May of 2020, but we've had a lot of updates, a lot of trails and trailhead completion since then, and we've had a lot of changes throughout the master planning of the city that we wanted to codify before, ahead of any full update of the Parks, Rec, Trails Master Plan as a whole. And the biggest thing is codifying or adopting certain trail projects into this plan gives us a leg up in terms of MAG funding and scoring for certain projects. So this memo is requesting the council to review 2 proposed projects that, how do I just plugged it in, sorry. Okay, I'll keep talking while Annalisa helps me with this. We will be bringing the updated Trails Master Plan chapter to the Planning Commission next week and hopefully to the council for the first meeting in March. But this is just to get ahead of a couple of projects that we wanted your feedback on. The first one being, both of them involve pedestrian and trail crossings along the Jordan River Trail that are separated from the roadway. So one is along Pony Express, where it crosses here at Saratoga Road and the Jordan River, that there will be an underpass so that pedestrians can cross safely across Pony Express. Let's see here. And just wanted to explain the visuals here. So again, this project is planned, but the bridge here that crosses Jordan River, we're hoping to have an underpass as the trail comes, you have that park and ride on the north side, that it would come underneath that bridge here so that there's a safe crossing that's separated from the grade. The second project would be a potential new bridge across the Jordan River just north of Pioneer Crossing. There are a couple of reasons why we were looking at adding this bridge to the trail master plan. The first being that all trails, active transportation, bike lanes, everything is being removed from Pioneer Crossing with the UDOT plans. So this is in the MAG. The trails on Pioneer Crossing are in the MAG plans. They're all in the state and regional plans that show a trail in Pioneer Crossing. Unfortunately, that can no longer happen with the expansion and the projects that are currently under construction there. And we're looking at alternatives for people to walk, bike, get across Jordan River without having to, or without the option to walk along Pioneer Crossing anymore. So what we've proposed and are hoping to potentially get MAG funding for eventually is a bridge across the Jordan River that coincides with Market Street. And what this would do, there's an option to go along a current city right-of-way. I think we have, a sewer storm drain easement that the city already owns. So this would never have structures on it for option B that connects to the Jordan River Trail at the shortest possible distance right here. And then there's also option A that connects a little more directly into the existing development on the other side of Jordan River. This would eventually, I believe that Lehigh is actually developing and extending their 700 South bike track along this area, somewhere along the south end of this development. They have a subdivision application for this property here, but the idea connecting into 700 South is that that will eventually connect to American Fork Frontrunner. So it is kind of far, but that would provide an option, a direct connection from American Fork Frontrunner through Lehigh to our downtown through Market Street. But currently, we're just looking at this connection so that whatever happens east or west, we have that option, especially with Pioneer Crossing removing those trails. So these are the 2 trail projects that we wanted to discuss with the council here today.
Hey, Tippy, just FYI, that potential development received a negative recommendation from their planning commission and was denied by their council.
Oh, on this right here on the
Yes.
south? Okay, I
Yep.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. And my question on these are, when we put something into our trails master plan, that technically, partners with a neighboring city, how do we communicate that with them?
Yeah, so we have talked to Mike West and the planning department at Lehigh City. Obviously not their council, but their department. We've been trying to coordinate our trails, and I think the ultimate goal is that we want to have as much as possible trails on both sides of the Jordan River for both of our residents to cross, where we have so many, our borders kind of go left and right of the river. In
So
so
their
many
planning
places.
is supportive of us attaching to their system.
Yeah. The
Their
planners,
planners
are.
are,
The
yep.
planners are. And this
Understood.
has been discussed. Pioneer Crossing, UDOT did invite us to some workshops on what do we do about active transportation and trails since we're moving it off of Pioneer Crossing. We've talked about this option kind of north of Pioneer Crossing, as well as how do we direct, pedestrians and bicyclists south of Pioneer Crossing as well. So whatever options, we've looked at several options with Lehigh, American Fork, and Eagle Mountain all together as well.
Okay.
And Mayor and Council, this is kind of one of those obscure facts that just kind of is out there. Market Street, the extension of Market Street, we are obligated to build the extension of Market Street out to where Riverside Drive would connect to it. So that's at some point when Riverside Drive is being built, we'll be responsible to build that little short segment.
That's
of
our
road.
obligation?
That's our obligation.
Why is
And
that?
that was part of the agreement we made back when we built the storm drain outfall.
Okay.
With the property owner. And so, again, more just to throw that out there so that you understand that that piece of the trail connection is something that we would be likely responsible for anyway. But from there, the divergence on option A would be a much longer segment of trail that would need to get built compared to, say, option B. So,
And for the public's knowledge, where it says option A, that is privately owned land, there are no plans for that today.
correct. And then the orange option B, we have a storm drain easement through that area and the obligation ultimately to build that section of road. Doesn't make sense to build the road until
No, yeah.
Riverside
My
and everything
point
else
was,
is- Yes.
that's privately owned. There's no imminent plans for that road to be pushed through or these trails. This is just planning.
Correct.
And I would clarify, Mark, that was in lieu of paying for so we didn't, that easement was given to us at no cost as part of that agreement.
Okay.
One of the reasons that we are showing two options is that option A has some land on Lehigh side that is open space. And so it would be easier on their end structurally to have space for that so we'd have to look at both options. So, we have to consider this as well, but we have to look at structurally where they will fit, like the footprints of the bridges on both sides.
That makes good sense.
And this step tonight basically makes it so that we can apply for that funding, which would be many years into the future, and we can continue to work down that path.
We're currently on a 2030 funding cycle, correct?
Yeah, this is for 2030.
If we're
successful.
Yeah, okay. That's if we put this above other projects, correct?
Yeah, it would have to get ranked and prioritized through the
Correct.
process. So,
Okay.
again, this amendment makes it so that we can apply for it and have it be consistent with what our plan says we want to build.
And Jeremy, I know you're pretty good at this. Can you ballpark me that underpass and that bridge, a dollar amount?
The underpass at Pony,
Underpass at Pony and then the bridge over that river.
Well, the underpass is included in the design.
In the design of the bridge.
That's
Okay.
long been there, so that we got that $14 million in 2028. That includes the cost of making the bridge tall enough to do the underpass.
Great.
The bridge. man,
Come on, I'll hold you to it.
I think the bridge was like 20
couple
million.
million. I have to roughly
No,
do that.
the pedestrian bridge, Mark,
Yeah, one
A
over
or
the
B.
river.
The A or B.
Yeah,
Couple $1 million for that?
a future bridge over the Jordan River is going to be, let's just say $2 to $3 million.
Okay.
Now, at some point, we have that extra bridge that is currently being used on the east side of the Jordan River crossing, and that's going to go away because if you've been out there, we have that future bridge already where the sewer lines go across. Is it possible that you could repurpose that existing bridge? Is it long enough? So there's It's
We've discussed it.
We have a history of cleaning
Yeah.
things up and reusing it, so.
I think we would love to find a way to that, but there's a lot of unknowns before I can answer whether that's possible.
No, it's
or
fair.
not.
I just was curious.
But I
take
would
it
love to
you-
find a way to reuse it.
I take it you have room down by your office for that bridge for a while?
From my office to the city hall would be a very useful bridge.
So, yeah, again, to Jeremy's point, we've discussed, is there a potential reuse for the bridge that would come out at Pony Express? Where the current bridge is, that's where we will be widening the
Right.
overpass and the bridge to the east. So that would potentially make it so that that bridge becomes surplus. So what, I don't know that it makes sense. It might make sense, it might not. We'll certainly take a look at it. It might be useful somewhere else. I mean, there's options, and we certainly want to stretch the taxpayers' dollars as far as we possibly can, and we're not opposed to looking at some alternatives that would be creative thinking.
So we have a place to store bridges, extra bridges.
Yeah, we'll place it in your backyard. Maybe get a code enforcement. We
Question-
could actually store it, theoretically, we could store it at the Public Works site if
Yeah.
necessary.
Question for the staff. Well, and thank you for bringing this. I'm excited. I was under the impression that Pony Express was going to keep its sidewalks. Is that not true?
Pioneer Crossing or Pony Express?
Sorry, Pioneer Crossing.
They are keeping their sidewalks, but not their shoulders or bike lanes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I remember from the meetings.
Like the cars will be right on the
Yes,
sidewalk.
they will be.
Yeah.
It's
So there won't be a place to bike.
Yes.
And it probably won't feel very comfortable to walk there.
No, it probably won't. I noted that when they were presenting. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I've had multiple residents ask me about having a bridge in this area, so this would be really amazing if we're able to get the funding for it. So thank you.
And then tonight is to get your feedback to make sure that you want these options included in the update that we'll be bringing you to at your next meeting.
Yeah, I'm in favor of putting these options in.
And then again, a more
No, we don't
comprehensive
vote.
plan would be updating in probably the fall, when we would go back, take a look at the trails and parks, master plans, and things of that nature, much more in depth, but this would be just kind of the quick update for this cycle of funding, and then additional studies in the future.
So both options would be coming back to us, right?
Both options will be in the plan, yeah.
Okay.
Anything else on this? Okay. There's no vote on that. It's not a action item. And with that.
Mayor, could I
Yes?
ask, I just want to ask a clarifying question.
Sure.
Based on some of our earlier conversation. I heard two things, and I want to make sure that we bring back the items as was suggested by the council. The first one, bring back Title 20 with some of those changes at the next available council meeting. Could be next council meeting, possibly the one after that, depending on what it looks like. And then come back and Rob had specifically said that we bring back the fee schedule, possibly the second meeting in March, and have a more comprehensive look at that. That will take a little more time, so I appreciate the extra time on that.
Okay.
But our intent would be to schedule those two, possibly the 20th, the Title 20 coming back next meeting, if not the following meeting, and then the fee review, bring that discussion back, second meeting in March.
The reason I mentioned the fee review had to do with Councilmember Wilson's comment about the amount of the fee, and that it would, be easier to do it within the fee review. And I thought, well, maybe let's just do more of a comprehensive at that time. My only issue with the Title 20 had to do with the maximum 20% per annum fee there. So, and then I think Councilmember Davenport had a couple of items as well.
Let me pull it back up. Yeah, particularly the part of the manual, like the very last part on section D, if we could relook at that and clarify a couple of things there.
Does that provide enough clarity?
Yes, thank you very much. We'll work
Okay.
towards those goals. Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we will adjourn.